People like you shouldn't be sitting at this table." The words stopped Daniel Carter halfway through lifting his glass. Across the dinner table, Victoria Lane looked him up and down with open contempt. Daniel was wearing a simple black jacket. His clothes were clean but inexpensive. His daughter, Lily, sat quietly beside him. Daniel had been invited to the dinner by an old business contact. He hadn't expected Victoria, one of the most powerful CEOs in the room, to be there. Victoria leaned back. "Honestly, Daniel, I don't understand why you came." Daniel smiled politely. "I was invited." She laughed. "Invited doesn't mean you belong." A few guests exchanged uncomfortable looks. Daniel didn't respond. He had learned not to argue with people who judged him by his clothes. Victoria continued. "Do you even work?" "Yes." "Doing what?" "Investments." She laughed. "Investments?" Daniel nodded. "Something like that?" Victoria smiled sarcastically. "That's a vague answer for someone who looks like he can't afford this dinner." Lily looked at her father. "Dad, can we leave?" Daniel gently touched her hand. "Soon." Victoria heard her. "You should teach your daughter not to interrupt adults." Daniel's expression changed. "Don't speak to her that way." The table became silent. Victoria rolled her eyes. "Relax, I'm only telling the truth." Daniel looked at her calmly. "Truth doesn't require cruelty." Victoria laughed. "You're giving me a lecture?" "No." "Good." She lifted her glass. "Because tomorrow I'm meeting the board to approve our biggest acquisition." Daniel paused. "Your company?" "Yes." "What company?" Victoria smiled proudly. "Lane Technologies." Daniel nodded slowly. "Interesting." Victoria frowned. "What?" "Nothing." She didn't notice the small smile on Daniel's face, because the acquisition she was talking about had already happened. Yesterday, Daniel had purchased Lane Technologies through an investment group. The deal had been completed privately. Victoria didn't know the identity of the buyer. Neither did most of her executives. Daniel had chosen not to reveal himself until the transaction was finalized. Now he watched her boast about a company she no longer owned. The dinner continued. Victoria eventually leaned toward another guest. "I've heard Daniel's financial situation isn't great." Daniel heard her. He said nothing. Lily looked embarrassed. Then Victoria made the final mistake. She placed her hand over Daniel's empty plate. "You know, if you can't afford dinner, you could have told someone." Daniel looked at her. "I can afford it." "Really?" "Yes." "How much?" Daniel smiled. "More than you think." She laughed. "That's exactly what poor people say." Daniel stood. "Lily, we're leaving." As they walked toward the exit, his phone rang. It was his attorney. "Mr. Carter, everything is ready." Daniel stopped. "Good. The announcement goes out tomorrow morning. Make it tonight." His attorney hesitated. "Are you sure?" Daniel looked back at Victoria. "Yes." He ended the call. 5 minutes later, Victoria's phone began ringing. She answered. "What?" Her CFO's voice sounded terrified. "Ma'am, we have a problem." "What kind?" "The acquisition documents." "What about them?" "The buyer has requested an immediate leadership meeting." Victoria frowned. "Who is the buyer?" "Silence. Answer me." Her CFO whispered. "Daniel Carter." Victoria froze. "What?" "The company was sold yesterday." Her glass slipped from her hand and shattered on the floor. Everyone turned. Victoria looked toward the entrance. Daniel was still there. Her face went completely pale. "You?" Daniel nodded. She rushed toward him. "You bought my company?" "Our company," Daniel corrected. "You can't be serious." "I am." "But you're broke." Daniel smiled. "That was your assumption." "You lied to me." "No. Then why didn't you tell me?" "Because you never asked." Victoria stared at him. Her confidence disappeared. "Daniel, please." He waited. "I didn't know." "I know." "I shouldn't have said those things." "I know." "Can we talk privately?" Daniel shook his head. "Not tonight." "Why?" "Because you humiliated me publicly. You can apologize publicly." Victoria looked around the room. Every executive was watching. She swallowed. Then she turned toward the guests. "I was wrong." Nobody spoke. "I judged Daniel by his appearance." Daniel remained silent. Victoria continued. I insulted him because I believed he had less money than I did. Her voice trembled. But I was wrong about something more important. She looked at Daniel. He didn't need to prove anything to me. Daniel nodded. That's true. The next morning, Daniel arrived at Lane Technologies with Lily. Employees gathered in the lobby. Some looked nervous. Daniel addressed them. I didn't buy this company to punish anyone. He paused. I bought it because I believe good employees deserve good leadership. The employees applauded. Then Daniel announced something unexpected. Victoria would remain with the company, but not as CEO. She would lead a new employee development program. Victoria stared at him. Why give me another chance? Daniel answered simply. Because one bad night shouldn't define your entire life. She lowered her head. Thank you. Daniel took Lily's hand. As they walked away, she looked up at him. Dad? Yes? Are you rich? Daniel laughed. Apparently. Then why do you still wear that jacket? He looked down. Because you like it. Lily smiled, and Daniel realized that was the only opinion that had ever truly mattered. The woman who had called him poor had discovered the truth. But Daniel had discovered something better. You don't need to look wealthy to be valuable. Your character is the one thing nobody can buy.